guys, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. Today we're in, you guessed it, Jackson's Auto Wreckers. We're up the top of the hill now, and we're going to take a walk around and show you some of the stuff that's still left, because we made it through the first weekend, the first 4 days of the October opening, and now we're down to the second weekend, the second 4 days, which is the final 4 days, which is the last time this place is ever going to be open to the public. So you got to get in here if you're planning on it and find your stuff and get while the getting's good. The yard will be open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's October 23rd to 26th. Thursday and Friday, 9 to 4, and Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 2, and then that's it. She's closed forever. And this time it's for real. The heavy equipment is moving in, and plans are in place to start cleaning it up. So this is your last chance. Down below in the description box, I'll put a link to the Jackson's Auto Wreckers Facebook page. You can find down there a price list, lots of pictures, links to videos. There's all kinds of stuff there. The yard here is at 6640 Newtonville Road in Kendall, Ontario. A little ways up from the 401 east of Bowmanville, out that way. It's not that far from Toronto. So we're going to kind of start our tour here. This is the hill that you come up to get into the yard. So you turn around and you can see the yard. And I'm going to refer to a few different areas. This up here, if you get to the top of the hill and you take this sharp right here, this goes up to a little area that I like to call the clearing. And then down over there, I call that the rows. And then up here behind the clearing, we'll get to that in a minute, we have the jungle. That's what I call it anyway. When I say the jungle, people seem to know what I'm talking about. So, oh, there's Moby, beautiful Moby. So here we're in, I call this area the clearing. And we're going to start our little tour here. And I always try to show you different stuff if I can. Over in this corner, they must have took some cars apart, or a lot of cars apart. And this, I keep walking past these two things, and I finally figured out what they are. These are Packard overhead valve V8s. 1955, 1956, around there. Look at this one's got a 4-barrel intake manifold. You need a 4-barrel intake manifold for a Packard V8? Here it is. There's two of them here. This one still has the, what do they call this? Ultramatic? What did Packard call their transmissions? I think that's what this is, an Ultramatic automatic transmission. This one's upside down. I'll see if I can roll it over and we'll see what it's got. Yeah, so it's hard to see, but this one here was a 2-barrel. This Packard engine. That 4-barrel intake manifold, I bet you that's quite a piece. Somebody needs to come and get that. And Deb wanted me to make sure I show you these little accessory vent wings on this little Chevy. They're both here, the left and the right one are there. I'm not quite sure how they're held on, but I don't think they're held on with a whole lot. Are these factory or are these an aftermarket accessory? I'm not sure. If I see any more of these little Chevys in here, I'll see if they have them too. Here's a little shoebox Ford here. Well, look at that. An angle drive distributor still sticking out of the old flathead. Here's the car. Looks like she's been here a while. There's the air cleaner in the trunk. A spare carburetor in case you need it. Back in this area here, there's a lot of stuff, like little piles that they were taking stuff apart and piling up the scrap. It's so buried in leaves now, it's hard to tell. Like just to show you how deep it is, there's a whole cylinder head for a flathead engine, and all you can see is just the end of it sticking out, you know. You can't even, get it out of where it is. But there's a lot of stuff just right here in this area. Here's another, this is a 6-cylinder flathead cylinder head, is it? Yep. It's a Dodge, I think. But all around here, sticking out of the earth, there's little neat treasures. Another flathead V8. There's piles of these things in here. And they're not all like this, sitting out. There's a lot of them that are in truck boxes and in vans. You could probably find a decent one if you need one. Here's another good sized flathead 6-cylinder. Out of something. There's the manifold and the carburetor from this Chev. I just put them back with it because they belong to it. Somebody took the cylinder head and left this stuff behind. Now this wheel, I think that's something that's going to be staying here because this tree has claimed it. That needs to just stay right there. The pedals are still in this old Pontiac, folks. I had originally called it a 63, but a viewer pointed out to me that it's a 64. I said, okay. Look at that beautiful Chrysler antifreeze jug. The thing is like new. That's off a pickup, I think, or a C body, a big huge car. And we'll go check the stock car over here. Another viewer pointed out to me that this is in fact a 64 Chevelle. And well, the pedals are still in it. You can see them there. And I found out these pedals fit 64 through 67 GM A bodies inclusive. So somebody would do themselves good by grabbing those. There's still lots of trim and even interior stuff in here. I saw the fella left here with the seats out of this Mercury on the weekend, and you know what? Out of the car, they didn't look too bad at all. I saw another seat go out. A fella had found it in a van. It was like a deluxe seat from some kind of GMA body, a Chevelle or something. Had the center armrest and everything. It was nice. It didn't even need to be recovered. And then we can do stuff like this, I guess. Help out our fellow car enthusiasts. I found these plates inside this car. People like to collect them. So nobody will see them in there. So I put them out where people can find them. This is neat. Had the roll down back window that goes in behind the back seat. I wonder if we can see the mechanism for that. Oh, it's all part of that. Look, it's a big whole metal thing. But there's a couple of these Mercuries with that roll down back window in here. Here's the control for it here, rear window. It's like a convertible top switch. Look at that, the Mercury across the dash. This thing, it's got one tiny little crack in the dash pad. Oh no, there's another one there. Too bad. It was a pretty decent pad otherwise. So now when we stand here in the clearing and look kind of to the west over that way, you can see this bank start up. And the cars all go along this bank, and that's what we call the jungle. So, man, there's still a pile of trim on that Rambler too. Nice straight bumper on the back. And it looks like there's not really a lot holding it on. You could probably just grab it and go. I'll continue talking about the jungle in a minute. Look at the dash in this car. Isn't that nice? Looks like somebody got the pad off of it. That's cool. So in the jungle here, there are some cars that are literally complete, and there are other cars that are stripped right down to the bones. I'm not sure how the determination was made to put them in here or not. Doesn't matter, they're here, right? But a lot of them, like these two in here, pretty complete cars. Engines and stuff are still in them. The jungle, there's a lot of bounty in the jungle. Then this here is kind of like a little island, right? Just in the middle on this one side of the clearing here, where we have the hubcap house. And there's a few interesting cars in here. I've showed you most of them before. There's the old Jeep. So you can kind of get the idea of this little island. See, there's the road down there where we come up, and then this little kind of little area is right in here. Now we can explore this part of the yard. So we've come down from the clearing and we're in what I call the rows. So now there's kind of a main road that goes down here, down to the south end of the yard, and then a bunch of other roads that go east and west where all the cars are. This is kind of like the truck row. We're down both sides of this. There's trucks and buses all full of stuff. And I mean full of stuff. Like this one here. Bunch of engines and stuff in here. Mostly Ford stuff. There is, I think, one Chrysler small block in there. Don't know if it turns or not. I've never tried it. Well, it's a 318 out of a mid-80s car, and unfortunately, it's stuck. You can see there it's got the Leanburn carburetor with the wires on it and stuff. This thing could be a roller cam engine, and they were pretty nice running as far as 318s go. They were kind of the last stab at it before the Magnum engines came along, eh? They rollarized the 318, and that made them a really smooth running engine. It's probably got swirl heads on it too, I would guess. You could look up, this is the part number of the engine, 4173552. You could look that up and find out what year it is, and probably learn quite a bit about it just from that number. The other day I had a fella asking me about a 318, you know. He's looking for a 318 that he can fiddle around with. Man, you gotta watch, these leaves get slippery. I nearly took a twister there. Oh well, I'm still standing. So yeah, we could keep kind of looking for him. Just anytime I see one that looks promising, grab the bar and see if it turns, you know. But I mean, in these things, look at all the engines that are still in these. It's just crazy. That's a Pontiac, that one, I think. Lots of Chevy engines. You know, and lots of these 351 modifieds in here. They were not the world's favorite engine. They didn't really do anything good. They ate gas like there was no tomorrow and had no power. There are some guys that like the 400s, you know. But the modifieds, not so much. Okay, now we're in the back of this bus. And here. Anybody recognize this H-pipe? Pretty sure it's GM. There's two of them in this place. This must fit something that somebody has. Where would you, like, do you know what it would cost to get one of these? And there's two of them in here, and they're both in good solid shape. I can't remember where the heck the other one is, but I keep seeing it. That's all I know. Here's another FE truck engine. That's a neat one. It's got a rear sump pan on it. This bus is good too. It's loaded with all kinds of stuff. Dodge tin grills. Little bits and pieces. Here's a console from something. There's some more grills. I think those are from Ford vans. All kinds of these thresholds or whatever, door sill plates, whatever you want to call them from the cars. Lots of good trinkets in this van. There's some decent fenders too, if you knew what they were for. So, Mopar guys, here we got one, a 360 rear sump pan. No, front sump pan. It's out of a car. And I put the bar on it. She turns free as a bird. It's got an EGR on it, but it's still got the early style intake manifold. So this one is probably up to about, could be anywhere from 74 to 78. But yeah, we got a 360 that turns. I'm going to close the door so it don't get full of water. Here's an International Harvester gas V8. There's a few of them in here. Here's the other one of these H-pipes. I knew I'd seen another one around here. I don't know what it's for though. And here's the little Volvo engine and transmission. Man, I met some guys at cruise night. A bunch of Volvo guys showed up, and I told them about this thing sitting here, and they were all bent out of shape about it, but, well, it's still sitting here. Volvo guys, where are you? Here is some gigantic, massive old diesel engine. All I could tell you is it must have been a heck of a bang when that connecting rod come out through there. Oh, boy. Glad I wasn't standing anywhere near it. There was probably stuff flying everywhere. Lots of truck wheels in here. Little dually split rims. Things that take your head off just as soon as look at you. This shed is pretty interesting, and I'm pretty sure it's being held up by the engines that are in it. A couple of small block Fords. Chevy engine over there. I think a Chevy engine. Some kind of GM engine anyway. Some Chevy 6s. There's all kinds of stuff in here. A nice mix of things. A couple of old Ford 3-speed manuals. This one's for a column shift, but there is one out here I saw. This one here has actually got the tailstock that'll take a floor shifter. Kind of neat. Probably from a Maverick or something. This whole van is filled with belts. V-belts, flat belts, every kind of belt you could imagine. Like industrial stuff, eh? Look at these things. I hear a backup beeper down below. That means there's another hunk of equipment or a bin or something arriving. So we're going to start walking the rows here. This is the first row. Right on the right over here is the jungle. So we're going to start walking the rows here. And let's see if we can come across anything interesting for you. Not much left of that old truck, eh? Can anybody tell what it was? It's an oldie, got knee action shocks. Look at the transmission cracked right in half. Wow. That's not easy to do. Okay, let's see. It's beautiful in here, eh? This was an old Mercury, had a 460 in it. Pretty neat. We can see here the 9-inch rear end is left behind. There's lots of them in here. There's 9-inch rear ends everywhere in this place. It's unbelievable. You gotta watch, you know what you're looking for. There's some of them that are big bolt pattern, like the 5-inch bolt pattern. I kind of think this one is. And some of them are 5.5. Some of them are 4.5. You just got to keep your wits about you. But there's 9-inch rear ends everywhere in here. Here's another cool one. Pretty picked over, but there's still a few bits and pieces on it. A bubble top Pontiac. Won't be finding too many of these laying around anymore. Here's another big 9-inch out of a Lincoln or a big Mercury or something. I already checked it. It's only a one-wheel peel, but it's out of the car. It's out of a full-size coil spring car, and it's got a flange, not a yoke. Here's another good thing. This old 72 Fargo doesn't look like much, but it's got a truck 8 3/4 in it. And for whoever grabs one of those 390 blocks that's sitting around here, here's everything you need to put it together. There's a 2U390 crankshaft, a balancer and a crank pulley, 2 car oil filter adapters, a car oil pan. I think it's another car oil pan underneath it. 8 390 connecting rods, and there's a bunch of 352 connecting rods for anybody that needs them. The stuff's here, people. The stuff is here. Here's a neat one, a 69 Valiant 2-door post. It's a nice car. It's got the fancy interior and everything in it, like all deluxe. It's got the nice dash. Man, that dash pad is not all that bad. Unreal. Yeah, so this was a pretty nice car. Look, it's got carpet, not the rubber on the floor. It's got headrest. At the beginning of 1969, these were an option. Later in 1969, they became federally mandated and all the cars had them. But if it's an early 69, those are actually an option. This came off the back of it. It's a newer bumper. It's like a 72 bumper because you can see it's got the jack slots. This bumper is off like a 72 Duster. But here's the cool thing about this little guy. It was a V8. Right? Check that out. A 318 in this little 69 Valiant. That would have been a nice little car. 318 and a 904. So once we find that out, we need to check the back and see what it's got for a rear end. This thing could have an 8 3/4 in it. Although I don't think, it's hard to see. You can't see anything under there. I don't think Paul Jackson would put a body 8 3/4 up here in the yard. He knew what stuff was. So we'll assume it's got a 7 1/4 in it. They did put those behind. They put 7 1/4 behind V8s right up until 1972. In 1973, the 8 1/4 started showing up in them, and they would put those behind the V8s. Even back into the 60s, like 273 4-speed cars, the very, very first ones, they had 7 1/4 in them. And then they very quickly made the narrow A-body 8 3/4 to use behind them. Did I show you this before? A whole snout for a 73 or 74 Chevelle. That's pretty neat. I guess there's another one on that old El Camino over in the other row, eh? Oh, and that brings me to explain to you, we're at another landmark. Hang on, let me get down to the end here. This here is Frame Mountain. Years and years and years, when they were taking apart old trucks, they just cut up the frames and throw them in this big pile here, because this is good stuff. Like scrap wise, this is very, very good stuff. So they knew to keep all this stuff in one big pile. And what you know when you see Frame Mountain is that you have entered School Bus Alley. That's what I call this, School Bus Alley. This old Ford big highway truck gives it away too. But you come up School Bus Alley, and I'll show you why I call it that. Well, there's a bread truck too, but it's Wonder Bread. You can read the sign. See, all the school buses are up here. And these mostly got transmissions in them, some engines, a few other parts. But, yeah, that's why we call this School Bus Alley. And there's vans with stuff in them. All kinds of stuff up along here. You got a nice bumper for a Dodge van in there. There's 2 of them, actually. If your project car is missing the jack, well, have a look. It may be in this little shed. A lot of them have disappeared. There were a lot more jacks than this in here, so I guess people have been grabbing them. That's good. So many times, stuff like this, a simple thing like a jack, holds up your project completely, right? When you're trying to get it done. It happens. Wow, look at all these axles. Truck frames just filled with axles. There's probably still some good stuff on this Dart Sport. I bet there is. You get in there and get at the front of it. Interestingly, it's got a K-frame from a Volare in the trunk of it. Here's a little Fairlane, like I don't know, what is it, a 62 Fairlane? 6-cylinder. Looky there. She's got a set of pedals in her. And these ones, because the dash is half taken apart, I mean, these ones would be easy to get out. Like, we're talking minutes to get these pedals out of here. Why are they still here? How come somebody hasn't got them yet? Yes, I'm fixated on pedals. It's just a thing of mine, because I spent so many years looking for pedals for a Galaxy. You know, a 65 to 68 Galaxy. I spent so many years looking for pedals for that damn thing. And, well, I found them in here. Unbelievable. So, I know what I went through. And pedals are not easy to find. And, they're here. There's pedals in cars here. Here's another Pontiac. 63 or 64. This is a 2-door post. And look, another set of pedals. And I'm sure these things fit the Chevys of the same era, right? The body looks the same. Unbelievable. Here's a great selection of the old school welder up trailer hitches that everybody used to get made at the local welding shop. That was quite a business for welders back in those days, was making trailer hitches, because we've talked about this before. You didn't just go down to the store and buy one, right? You had to have it made. This here is some kind of contraption that goes on a 3-point hitch. I'm just not sure what it's for or what it does. Well, look at this, a pair of Volvo hubcaps. So I left them out so somebody hopefully can find them, and they find their way back onto a Volvo somewhere. I love leaving stuff out for people to find. This Chrysler 400 short block is still sitting here waiting for you to build your stroker out of. And there's a couple of transmissions in here. This one here is a Chrysler. It's an A-body 230. Fully synchronized 3-speed. This is a good transmission. And it's got the pad for a floor shifter on it. Yeah, that's great. That'll go perfect in a Valiant or a Duster. I mean, 340 Dusters came standard with a 3-speed manual. You had to option it to get a 4-speed. But this one's probably off just a 225 or a 318. I had one like that. I should have kept that car. It was a 74 Duster. It was like a nice dark blue with a white vinyl top and a white interior. It had bucket seats. It had a slant 6 with a 3-speed manual on the floor. It was a nice little car, but who wanted a slant 6? I was young and stupid. All I wanted was a 340. So anyway, we took a few parts off it and scrapped it. But that was the 80s. There was cars like that all over the place. Pretty neat. It's all in one piece, but it doesn't turn. That could be something minor. It could be just the input bearing. It could be completely filled with water. It's hard to say. But next time I walk by here, I'll make sure I've got my wire brush, and we'll clean the pad off and see what the heck this thing came out of. This is a van that I got a few goodies out of. Might be more goodies in it. You never know. Here's another set of pedals in this Rambler. Who's working on a Rambler? The transmission's still in it too. This thing is a V8 with a 3 on the tree Rambler. So what is this? What is this? About a 64, 65 Rambler? Is this the AMC? What did they have? A 327? I kind of think that's what that is. Well, there it is. Wow. So, and that's complete. It's got the torque shaft, all the linkage, everything, all in one shot. Is the rear end still in this car? I think it's gone. Yeah, it's long gone. I don't know what these things even had for a rear end. And there's a Chevy engine in the back seat. A 6-cylinder with a power glide. Another power glide. Everywhere I look in here, there's power glides. What else we got in here? A couple of cast iron Cruise-O-Matics. And what is that? I don't know what that is. 2 more power glides. A Buick Olds Pontiac one and a Chevy one. This place is like Power Glide Central. Here's another set of pedals, people. This is a little Studebaker Commander. Where would you ever find a set of pedals for this if you were working on one and wanted to put a Chevy motor and a 4-speed or something in it? You need the right pedals, right? Well, this thing's got them, and it's complete. It hasn't been touched, so the clutch rod, the torque shaft, everything is there. There was a set in this Beaumont too, but somebody already got them. It was a 194 3-speed. We're down in the back corner now, and it's kind of a place, I guess, where they used to put kind of heavy scrap or whatever when they were taking things apart. There's a lot of old heavy truck, these big truck axles and stuff like that. Although you do find the odd thing, like there's a 7 1/4 rear end from a Valiant with the small bolt pattern wheels still on it. Who the heck do I know that was looking for some of those now? Oh man, there's always somebody looking for something, and most of the time I can't remember them. There's a oh, I know that engine. Yeah, dude, it's a Poly. There's one laying on its side, a flathead 6. There's a transmission sticking out of the ground. Little creek running down there. This place is just awesome. Here I think is a Volkswagen. There's a Chrysler flathead. I can see the floating power mount on the front of it. Yeah, there's a Volkswagen front end. Rear end out of something. V8 engine with a 4-barrel intake. There's all kinds of neat stuff in here. What do we got over here? Snout off of something. Front frame section out of something. There's those old GM spiral shocks. They're always a giveaway that you found some GM stuff. Oh, look at that. We stepped over a 9-inch. That's from a truck. There's a truck arm rear end from an old Chevy. There's just so much stuff in here. Everywhere you look, you find something interesting. Like a Camaro or a Nova subframe. Man, it's not even that bad. Oh, it's a little punky up where the steering box goes, but you could plate that easily. The rest of it isn't too bad. Well, there's another one right here. The stuff in here, man, I tell you. Look, here's a Mercury front end. Somebody's taken the grill out of it, but it's still got the fins on the side of it. Isn't that cool? There's lots of these things around here too, like everywhere. Look, there's another one there. These are good for campfire rings, you know. They come off, they're the spacers off these old truck wheels. And you can see here, they're great for a campfire ring. Probably better if you got 2 of them and tack them together, make it a little bit taller, right? And then you'd have a nice ring for your fire. Here's a good one, and this has fooled a lot of people and relieved a lot of people of their money, and they felt bad about it after when they found out what they'd bought. This thing here, you'll see these things around just like this one, and you go, oh, you get all excited. You see the 9-bolt top cover and 3 little things sticking out the side, and you go, I found a top loader 4-speed. No, you haven't. When you see this back here, this offset, 2 bolts offset like that, the Z pattern they call it. And this here, the dead giveaway, D7. D7, that's D for 1970s and 7 for 7, 1977. You have found a top loader imposter. So what this is they did the exact same thing that Chrysler did with their old cast iron 4-speed and made it into a 3-speed overdrive. So what they do is basically 3rd and 4th gear are switched. So 4th gear direct, right, which would be 4th gear in a normal 4-speed, becomes 3rd gear, and they revise the cluster gear and 3rd gear on the main shaft to make it an overdrive. So what they do is they flip the 3-4 lever up. So the 1-2 lever points down, the 3-4 lever points up, so it works backwards. And so then you've got 1, 2, 3 overdrive. I mean, they're okay. These are pretty stout transmissions because they're still built the old way. This is their first stab at an overdrive. The second one we saw earlier, the SROD, the aluminum transmission that I showed you in the bus down below, that was Ford's second stab at an overdrive 4-speed. And then they just went with all, I think in the pickup trucks, they went to the Mazda sourced 5-speed, and they had T5s in the Mustangs and stuff. But this was their first go at it. Now, what you got to know about these things, they're not too bad if you find the one, and it's hard to find. The one from a 351 pickup truck. They use these, by the way, in pickup trucks, I think Econoline vans and Granadas, right? I don't know what they used for gears in Granadas, but in the pickup trucks, which are the ones you more commonly find, they had two different gear ratios. There was 309 or 301 or something, which they used behind the 351 Windsor. See, that thing was stout enough that they would put it behind a 351 Windsor. They would never do that with an SROD. And the 302 and the 6-cylinder's got a 325 first gear, which is a kind of a little much in a car. It's just a little bit much for first gear in a car. But I have one of these at home, and it's the 309 first gear. That's not too bad. You could kind of get away with that in a car. You don't want to go too bonkers with the rear end ratio, so because you've got a little deeper first gear than you would normally have, right? Like a performance car, the first gear would kind of be in the 240-ish, you know, down there. Until you get into 5 speeds where they could spread them out a little bit more, that's a whole different animal. But on these, 325 is a little bit much for first gear. So unfortunately, we don't know what this is because we can't read the tag, and we can't turn it because it's seized. The input retainer's busted off of it. It's been sitting here for I don't know how long. It is what it is, right? If you're willing to take a chance with it, who knows what you might find out. We may, when we've got some more time, pop the top cover off it and see if we can figure out what it is. But until then, it can just sit here, I guess. I'll put it right side up, though, so the rain isn't going straight in that speedometer hole. Okay, the input retainer's not snapped off. It's been removed. So thankfully, I think I looked that up and found that they're actually the same as the 3-speed top loader. And there's all kinds of them in here. So you could just grab an input retainer off a 3-speed and stick it on there, and at least it would be complete again. The factory shifters they used on these things were kind of a wacky, goofy thing. I guess you could make some kind of an adapter plate to go on there and then adapt it to a Hurst shifter. You know, a Hurst style shifter, and then you'd be okay. But, well, it is what it is. Here it is. It's sitting here. Oh, and we're here. We're still in School Bus Alley. We're at the beginning of School Bus Alley. There's a bunch up in here, a bunch of vans and cars and truck bodies and stuff, all full of stuff. Like looking through there, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. Somebody was in here the other day looking for Olds Tornado stuff. They were looking for a transmission with the front drive axles and stuff. We couldn't find it, but there must have been one in here at one time, because here's the rear trailing axle for one. Although, I mean, it could be from a Caddy Eldorado too, right? Hard to say. But it's definitely from a big front-wheel drive GM car. The stuff you find in here. Wow, there's a vulture. I thought they'd all be gone south by now. Oh, it's a nice day. They like this breeze. So that'll do it for our little stroll around up the hill. We saw some neat stuff. Can't believe how many sets of pedals we found. I didn't think there was that many still in here, but there is. So, wow. I hope guys come and get those pedals, because where are you going to find a set of pedals for a Studebaker Commander if you need them? Like, unreal. And that Rambler, what a fun car that thing would have been with the V8 and a 3 on the tree. That would have been a hoot. It's a tiny little car. Anyway, whatever. We've been around there and done that. So remember, folks, you got 4 more chances to get in here and harvest this stuff for your very own before it's all gone forever. I can't stress that enough. I hope everybody that wants to get here can get here. Like I said, if you just to pick parts, to just wander around, or to come and take pictures, it's just a fascinating place. So with that, I'm going to take off. I'd like to thank, as always, Travis and Nurse Scrap Metal for doing this for us car people. It's been a blast over the last year coming in here and getting stuff and wandering around and meeting all of you folks that come here. We have such a blast in here. Anyway, enough that is enough of my rambling. I got to get out of here. I'd like to thank you as always for tuning into the Claremont Classic Garage. Hope you'll come back and see us again. And until then, I'm Kevin saying so long for now.